This episode is brought to you by HP Plus. In a world full of smart devices, isn't it about time your printer got smart too? Now printing is smart with HP Plus, and the HP Smart app is how it all happens. You can print from your phone with just a tap, no matter where you are, even from your garage/home office/yoga studio. Huh, that is smart. HP Plus. Learn more about smart printing at hp.com/smart.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, but you can call me Mikey the Kid. And with me, as always, is my co-host.
Is Matthew, alien clone hybrid. Lance House.
Okay.
Lance,
well, I reckon that's a long name, my friend.
Yeah, a little bit long.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's okay.
Today on the show, we are covering the latest episode of Legends of Tomorrow, which is a Western episode. Hence my weird attempt at a Western accent. Anyway, in this episode, which is entitled Stressed Western. Yes.
Get it?
Stressed Western.
Mm-hmm.
This is episode 8 of season 6, which aired on June 27th, 2021. It was directed by David Ramsey, who also guest starred in the episode, and was written by Matthew Mala. Okay, so what goes down in this episode here, my friend?
This episode right here. So Sarah's, she's back. They had the whole rescue mission, or what? Not really. What kind of a rescue mission? From the last episode, after she essentially killed Bishop, because he was trying to upload his consciousness into a world computer or whatever. That failed, thankfully, and they're trying to ease her into life again. Ava's trying to make her favorite foods and all that kind of stuff, and Bayford is he went to the Agora, in ancient Greece to get a pinch of salt, to put on her food or whatever. And they end up making Mick Kobe beef, aged 15 years in one morning or whatever. for all the hard work they did, and all the the journey that they made to get back to the ship, and so that was kind of funny. And so it turns out that Sarah is not very hungry. And this kind of is revealed slowly over the show what might be going on. Ava's trying to kiss her and stuff like that, and she just blurts out that she's an alien human hybrid clone, and then it just goes into the credits, the intro credits.
Yeah, and
he's dealing with that.
And she asks Ava to keep it quiet.
Yeah.
Ava then asks Nate for a simple mission for Sarah, so they, so that, she can work her way back into the group. which leads them to the legends to Fist City, Oklahoma territory in 1891.
Yep.
Where they go in Fist City, according to Nate, was one of the meanest cities in the Old West.
Yeah.
And they basically, when they get there, they find the town's residents to be really, really kind. And none of them are drinking or cursing or anything. They're drinking root beer instead of regular beer and stuff like that. Having ice cream floats and milkshakes and stuff like that.
It's a dry, what you would call a dry town.
Yes.
During one of those days. Yeah. What was it? They used a fancy word for root beer back then. It was called
sarsaparilla.
Yeah, sarsaparilla. That was the official. That was the official name for root beer, but they changed it to root beer because they figured more people would buy it than. I mean, seriously, if you went to a store, would you buy something that said sarsaparilla or root? Well, you don't drink beer, so it wouldn't matter. But most people,
I can't have either, unfortunately, because root beer makes my stomach hurt.
Well then, yeah. So there you go. But yeah. So they go to this town. They go into the saloon because this is where they think the alien has set up somehow.
Yeah, and they don't know what alien they're looking for, so they're sending in Spooner and with what's her face? Astra.
Come on, how did I forget her name? Yeah, Astra.
Yeah, me too. I blanked on it for a second there. Astra is they're kind of fighting anyway, so
yeah, they're bickering.
So they pair people off into teams and they put them in a team together. Because
the buddy system.
Yeah, the buddy system, because they kind of just want them to get to, cooperate with each other better.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, they're fighting back and forth and everything. During this whole time, Constantine keeps asking Gary about the Fountain of Imperium. Which is like a fountain, kind of like the Fountain of Youth, but like a fountain where you can gain your magic again. So, because Constantine lost his magic a couple episodes ago, so he's trying to get his magic back.
But it's hardcore magic. It's basically you could just have all the magic in the world if you drink or whatever, access this fountain or whatever.
And Gary's trying to deflect Constantine's inquiries because he doesn't really want him to get this because it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically they get into a fight at one point in the bar. Or somebody gets into a fight. Who got into a fight? Because I'm trying to remember now.
Oh, okay. So, what happened was they when they got in there, and when it was Astra and Spooner were bickering, and Astra ended up knocking her Spooner's sort of tinfoil hat, because she was literally wearing a tinfoil hat because it keeps the alien voices from getting in her mind or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she ends up knocking this guy over and spills his root beer. And then that's when we find out that this is a town, because he's like, oh, well, I should be buying you another round or whatever. Then it turns out that there's this whole welcoming ceremony where you got this guy playing the guitar, singing a song about the new strangers in the town.
Balladeer, basically.
Yeah. So what happens is that this guy at the table mistakes them as being basically like bar wenches, which, you know, as you do in like 1891 or whatever, you're going to assume that a woman in the bar, even if it's like a dry bar, is working the place, probably not as a customer or whatever.
Yeah.
Just, don't come after me. I'm just going by what history was. Like, don't cancel me, you know, for historically accurate presentations of things. But sorry, that was kind of weird of me. But so they think he's like gonna play cards or whatever, like, you know, gamble. So it turns out that he's playing Go Fish, and he's got like this little thing of like gold, like in his pocket, like a pouch of gold. And Astra wants to win the gold from him, and she's frustrated that they're not gambling, like, because she, like, when she was living in hell, that's pretty much her life was like, they pretty much traded like people's souls like you would like money, basically, you know. And she kind of wanted to, like, she still kind of has a chip on her shoulder when it comes to that kind of thing. Like, she wants to get what she wants, and if she doesn't, she gets like really, really frustrated, because like that's how she's had to pretty much grow up, is kind of just winning things over people, because that was like the only way she could survive.
When you're growing up in hell, that basically your life's going to be hell.
Yeah, that's literally how. It's literally how she grew up. So she's pissed off that this guy was just playing Go Fish, so she couldn't win his money. So then she goes out there to basically just like antagonize him, like, oh well, I need to win this gold from you somehow, like, you know. And then he gets angry and basically, you know, whatever, calls her, basically said something like, about her being black, basically, like, oh, someone the looks of you or whatever, you know, because Oklahoma 1800s, pretty sure racism was
yeah, and we realized that there's an alien worm underneath the ground, kind of basically Tremors like.
Yeah,
because this episode really reminded me of Tremors.
Oh, I know, totally.
Yeah. And basically the worm only attacks when people get angry. It can sense your anger. So it's kind of like the Incredible Hulk, who attacks when he gets angry, but this is different. It attacks when other people are angry.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why there's all these rules in the town, and they have Gary identifies this worm as a Haverack, and it's under the control of their sheriff, the town sheriff, Levi Stapleton, which is a great name.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know why, I just like that name.
It is good name.
Yeah. He has a whistle that controls it, basically. It ends up swallowing some local from underneath the ground during that argument with Astra. So it swallows that guy that she's having an argument with. So, there's a point where Sarah wants the whistle, basically, because they want to get the alien, you know, off the timeline and back into, you know, their ship and stuff. And destroyed it. So Sarah challenges Stapleton to a duel. And they say they're going to take, you know, so many paces and then shoot. And he shoots early.
Of course he does.
When Sarah's back is to him. Shoots her right down the center of the head. And then she regenerates, basically revealing her secret to everybody. Then, yeah. So, we also see during this whole time a masked man looking around. A man with like a handkerchief around his neck. Or a bandana, I should say.
Yeah. Really familiar eyes. I wonder who he could be.
Yeah. Well, it happens to be David Ramsey, but not playing Diggle.
No.
He's playing somebody we later learn is Bass Reeves.
Yeah, the Reeves.
Yeah, who we know from history was a law enforcement officer, and basically he was the first black deputy U.S. Marshal west of the Mississippi River. He worked mostly in Arkansas and the Oklahoma Territory, where this takes place, and he had on his record more than 3,000 arrests of dangerous criminals.
Wow.
And he shot and killed 14 of them in alleged self-defense.
Wow.
Yeah, he was the inspiration for the Lone Ranger. Basically, even though the Lone Ranger was white in the series and everything, but basically the events that he did, because he would come from town to town and take care of things as a marshal, you know. So, you know, he was like, who was that masked man, sort of thing, you know. And there's also his character is mentioned in the TV series Watchmen, along other things too. So, you know, just, you know, very important character in history that tends to get overlooked because of his color of his skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably just as important to like Western history as, you know, Wyatt Earp and other people like that. So, you know. But people know Wyatt Earp's name. They don't know his, unfortunately.
Right. Well,
starting to. More people are now. But, yeah.
Not just him. I mean, a lot of the original cowboys were black as well.
Yeah.
And that's also often overlooked, you know, for various reasons.
Yeah.
And so, because he's the whole point of, like, the Wild West or whatever. I mean, I know Oklahoma's not technically West, but, like, that whole idea was sort of like
at the time it was. Yeah.
Well, okay, it was like an entrepreneurial type of spirit. Like, you try to create something, make your own way type of thing, you know, build something from the ground up type of thing, you know. A lot of those people, you know, were black people, you know, who have just maybe just recently, you know, have been freed from enslavement, you know, or whatever.
Which is the good thing about Watchmen. It actually taught people about a lot of stuff that happened in Oklahoma regarding black people with Black Wall Street and Tulsa, and then the massacre that happened there, unfortunately. So, you know, a lot of people that we never learned about in our history classes, and that's why people don't understand why critical race theory is actually a good thing. Anyway, so I'm not gonna. Okay.
We're not allowed to learn that exactly. No. Because it's gonna stir up. No, you know what their arguments are. Their argument is literally probably to use their language that they use behind closed doors, not when it's got to stir up the blacks and they're going to get vengeful and angry. It's literally there. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. You do realize that they already know this part of the history. It's not a secret. We're the ones that don't know the history, and we're the ones that you don't want to know the history, because if we learn the history, you're afraid that we're going to be empathetic, and then that's terrible when it comes to trying to divide people. You don't want people to be empathetic. So that's who you
takes away. It takes away the squeaky clean image of the history of America.
Right. So that's who they really don't. They don't want people like us to learn.
But even the sad fact is we don't learn about like many historical figures of note that are like heroes and good people like Bass Reeves in our history classes. You know, it's like.
Well, exactly, too. Not just tragic. That's the other thing, too, is like, you don't always, like with Malcolm X, what he used to say is like, you know, like, you know, we know how all these stories about, like, you know, lynchings and stuff like that. Like, well, you know, where are our heroes? Where are, you know, like, you know, white people learn about George Washington, all of these founding fathers, you know, where are the stories of our heroes, you know, type of thing. So, it's important to have that kind of, like, inspirational figure, you know, or figures, you know.
So it's good that, you know, more people are learning about bass reefs through things like this and the other things like
exactly like Legends of Tomorrow.
I doubt that Legends of Tomorrow is going to be very educational when it comes to him. But
well, yeah.
But maybe somebody watching the show will look up and say, "Hey, I wonder if this Bass Reeves guy was a real guy."
And turns out he is.
Yeah, and you know, just read his Wikipedia page. It takes like a half hour at the most. You know, I'm just saying.
Right.
Not even that. You know, I'm just saying. You know, maybe if you're getting up in the middle
Right.
to go get a Pepsi or something. But anyways, so
So this Whistle guy,
Yeah.
we forgot to mention, is that Bass Reeves is basically an outlaw in this timeline now, and the guy who runs the city was actually he was the outlaw in real life, and now he's the sheriff. And then
so it's kind of reversed or whatever. Do you want to take a quick break here, Matt, and then we'll come back and talk about the rest of this episode?
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks.
What is Gen X? What is the silent generation? What do generations have in common? Hi, I'm Trish the Dish from the Gen X Voice podcast, and I invite you to listen to conversations I have with folks from different generations, backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences in an attempt to see what connects rather than divides us. Even though Gen X has been called slackers, Karens, or not mentioned at all in some cases, we are the bridge generation, so I feel compelled to do my part to destroy ageism by bringing all these voices together. And, as a bonus, each guest gets to answer some 80s questions at the end of each show. So download and listen to Gen X Voice today on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And let's see how much we have in common after all.
Hi, this is Catherine, host of a new fashion podcast, The Real Fashion School Dropout. Join me as I interview guests every week in the fashion and beauty space, and we gossip on all things fashion and beauty, and even get into some personal stories of their journey in the industry. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Hope to see you there.
Howdy, folks. We're back. Welcome.
Back.
Why don't you sit a spell here with us?
Have some sarsaparilla. How do you say it?
Sarsaparilla.
Sarsaparilla on the house.
Yes. Sarsaparilla. And get yourself a nice milkshake. A nice milkshake. Yep.
With extra cherry.
Extra cherries on top. Yep.
Yep.
I reckon that's the best meal you can have.
I wonder what a milkshake in the 1800s would taste like. Would it be any good?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, did they have refrigeration?
I mean, would it be stirred? I mean, would it even taste like anything like a modern milkshake? I mean, like,
I don't know. I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder. We'll have to look that up.
Yeah, totally.
But all I do know is that my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Wait.
It's an old reference. I like it.
Yes. Oh, boy. So, according to Wikipedia, during the 1880s till the 1930s, when the term milkshake was first used in print in 1885, milkshakes were an alcoholic whiskey drink that has been described as a sturdy, healthful eggnog type of drink with eggs, whiskey, etc., served as a tonic as well as a treat.
Oh, wow.
However, by 1900, the term referred to wholesome drinks made with chocolate, strawberry, or vanilla syrups. By the early 1900s, people were asking for the new treat, often with ice cream. By the 1930s, milkshakes were a popular drink at malt shops, which were the typical soda fountains of the period, used by students as a meeting place to hang out. Anyways, so, yeah, basically, that's where they came from.
So not very historically accurate, but that's okay.
No.
Because, we got a Tremors-like alien in town who's being controlled by a sheriff that actually should be an outlaw. And
that actually happened, though, right?
Yeah, well, of course that part happened.
'Cause I remember learning about that in history class. We didn't learn about Bass Reeves, but we learned about the worm that shit gold, and
that's right. The worm. That's right. He shits gold. That's why the town's so rich, is because they literally just scoop up the shit of the worm. That's a good saying right there. Scoop up the shit of the worm.
Wouldn't it be great if we shit gold?
It'd be awesome.
I mean, it might hurt. It'd probably hurt coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this town's literally a gold mine, and they just have to have someone to control the worm.
Yeah.
You got to
control the worm, much like people had to try to control Dennis Rodman, whose nickname was the Worm. Oh, wait.
Right. But it's weird, though, right? Because it can only shit if it eats people, but it can only eat people if they get angry. But they have the rules to prevent people from being angry. So isn't that kind of like a contradiction? Like, are they kind of like going off?
I don't know. It might be able to shit if it eats other things. Maybe it eats other things too. That's not much.
True.
Yeah, because I don't think it doesn't just eat humans.
Oh yeah, true.
It might eat grass or
animals or
trees,
whatever.
Or
trees, yeah, it could be.
Yeah, or houses, or
well, there wasn't many houses in the area, but back then towns were just like I guess the other thing too is just like looking at how like towns used to be like back in the day. Like it wasn't like you just had roads that would like go directly into like a town like it is now. Like there literally just be like areas of like nothing. And then you just show up and there's like a town. Like
a lot of times, like in these shows, I mean, you did like if you watch something like Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, or Little House on the Prairie, you know that there's like the main little town area that's like kind of like the downtown of modern times, and but you did have like your farms and your houses surrounding it. So there probably were farms and stuff that these people lived at, because not everybody lived in the saloon.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially a saloon that only serves you syrup. I can't say it.
Sass?
Syrup.
We're gonna teach you this. Sass.
Okay. Sass.
Sarsaparilla.
Wait,
Sarsaparilla.
Sarsaparilla.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna repeat it. Sarsaparilla. Okay.
Yes.
I'll memorize it. Sarsaparilla. Yeah, a saloon that only serves you sarsaparilla and milkshakes.
Yeah.
Probably shitty milkshakes, if I'm being honest. And like, what was the other thing he offered? Phosphate. So what's phosphate? Was that just like
phosphates were actually an early version of what we call soda now.
Okay.
Yeah, sodas were originally, there was like a thing called a phosphate, which was like kind of it basically ended up developing into like things like cola and Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
But they were like they weren't as sweet, but it was kind of like a carbonated beverage that had it was like early carbonated beverage. Yeah.
It's like a club soda, basically.
In a way, sometimes they would have other things in them. I listened to a podcast once about the history of soda. So
I like how we're narrowing in on the more important parts of the episode, like sarsaparilla. Oh, I said it right. All right.
Yes.
And phosphate and milkshakes with extra cherry. Okay, good. Now we got that settled.
Yep.
The important parts of the episode are now settled. Who cares about Bass Reeves and the worm that shits gold, and the duel where the guy shoots Sarah in the head and she somehow. That's the other part too. We forgot. So, we didn't forget.
Yeah,
we took
go ahead.
A break.
Yeah.
Well, after she regenerates, he gets all pissed off that she can't die, and this little worm eats him then because he's getting angry. And then, we forgot too. God damn, we're forgetting all kinds of stuff. Okay, so basically, Behrard is flirting with Astra in the beginning, like when they first get there, and Zari, kind of confronts him about it. Not really, but just like tells him that he always goes for like the bad girls, and he needs to find someone that's like better for him or whatever. And he's, rejecting her, sisterly advice or whatever. So then, he ends up falling for this other woman at the saloon who's like flirting with him. And like, she turns out to be kind of bad because after the worm eats the sheriff, who's actually a bad guy, like in history, she's the one that takes the whistle and now commands. And then we find out that like the town's not so nice after all because they all draw their guns onto the legends and force them into the saloon where they're basically camping out now. So, yes. Not great people in Fist City, but
no.
Nope.
And a phosphate soda is a type of beverage that has tangy or sour taste. These beverages became popular among children in the 1870s in the United States. Phosphate beverages were made with fruit flavorings, egg, malt, or wine. In the 1900s, the beverages became popular, and fruit-flavored phosphate sodas were served at soda fountains, before losing popularity to ice cream-based treats in the 1930s. Phosphoric acid is used in many bottled soft drinks, including Coca-Cola. The original acid phosphate made by the Horsford Chemical Company was a mixture of calcium, magnesium, and potassium phosphate salts, with a small amount of phosphoric acid producing a liquid mixture with a pH of around 2 to 3, the same as freshly squeezed lime juice. Horsford used bone ash, which was mostly calcium phosphate. In the 21st century, bone ash is used primarily in the ceramics industry and rarely available as a food-grade stock. The ingredients can, however, be synthesized from modern food-grade chemicals. That is the whole. That is the whole Wikipedia.
Well, there we go. See, yes. Now we got the important stuff.
Yes, we know what phosphates are.
What's interesting about that, like I was talking about earlier, was like how, like how evolution's like very cyclical. When that was the last episode we recorded. Never mind. But
yeah.
So like it started off with like fruit flavored stuff, and then a few years ago, maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, SodaStream was really popular, and that was pretty much, it was like you made your own soda and you put like fruit flavored in there, and it's like, there you go. So we went back to the 1800s to drink the type of phosphate that they drink in the saloon when the worm was not shitting alien. Sorry, the alien was not shitting gold.
Yep.
I wonder if they could put some gold dust in from the worm shit into the phosphate to make it a little, give it a little tang,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeehaw.
We really went off the rails in this one, trying to figure out where do we pick up.
So anyways, like, in the show, we had the standoff.
Yeah.
So we learned that Sarah can regenerate herself. I mean, we already knew this, but the team finds this out. And then we there's another scene where there's a thing where Astra and Spooner are going off to try to find where the gold's coming from. Did we talk about this yet? No.
That's right. Yeah, that's how we find out that the worm shit's gold.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
So if they find the worm and find that, and Bass Reeves is following them, and then they end up meeting him, and he's basically, like you said, been maligned by Stapleton, basically been made to be the outlaw of the town, and the legends all like kind of hide inside because the town wants to get them and force them out of town because they don't want to lose their gold mine, basically. So they force all of the legends basically into a bar, and I mean the saloon, where they're basically slowly getting like cabin fever and start like arguing with each other. And this summons the Haverak worm alien thing, the gold shitter. And they should have just called the alien the gold shitter.
The gold shitter.
And so Reeves and Astra and everybody come to town, and Spooner come to town as well. Sarah sees Riggs at one. I mean Reeves at one point and thinks that and says to him, "Dig," and he's like, "I can dig it."
I was like, "I do, yes, I do
dig it." Yeah. Or something. Yeah. So yeah, makes you wonder if maybe Bass Reeves was an ancestor of John Diggle or something. You know.
See, that would be pretty awesome. If we find that out.
So the legends are bickering, and they summon the Haverak, and it ends up being destroyed by Astra and Spooner using their powers, basically.
No, the buddy system works.
Yep.
See?
So then after that happens, Bass Reeves cleans up Fist City, and then we cut back to Gary and Constantine, and Gary, in their little story. Constantine is told by Gary that there is a map of the fountain that he's looking for, and that Crowley knows where it is. So we may have to see Aleister Crowley again.
Yeah. Well, he told him about it in the episode. He's like, there is a fountain of Imperium, but he didn't really believe him because he figured he's just trying to get out of his portrait again. But that was really hard to watch. Like John, really getting mad at Gary for not telling him about it.
Oh,
and
I
it's
know.
Like the only reason why is because it's so dangerous it could kill you.
Yeah.
But I don't understand though. So about that whole thing of why is John completely cut off from magic? Because if Astra can learn from the bottom up, why can't John just start from the bottom as well? I don't know why he's completely
Because he's not Drake.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. And he can't start from the bottom, and now he's here. And
because the spell was specifically meant for John to deplete him of magic. I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know why it didn't take her Astra's magic away. Maybe it was because she was learning magic at the time, and so like you said, she just started out, and I don't know. Maybe he can learn it again. I don't know. It's like I don't know.
Well, he tried.
Yeah.
So he can't. He physically can't. He's you know what I mean?
Maybe this is something they're gonna reveal to us in the next episode. I hope.
Yeah,
so.
maybe. Yeah.
And then we have at the end of the episode, basically, Behrad takes his totem and Zari's totem and gives them to Nate so he can go and visit the other Zari. Which,
would have been nice for the past 2 seasons that they could have done that for him, but
well, we did get to we spent time with both of the Zaris for a while last season, so
yeah. No, I just mean letting Nate see her
maybe
hey,
maybe they just figured out they could do that. I don't know.
Oh, maybe yeah.
Who knows?
It's hilarious.
Yeah, we've got Do you want to take a break here, Matt, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some speculation and trivia and stuff?
Oh, some specs and trivs, sure.
Yes. We'll be right back, folks.
Need a new podcast to listen to? Well, why not check out the Super Podcast from the Super Network at supermarcy.com, where we discuss films and pop culture, and we do monthly fan-voted commentaries. We are available on all major podcasting platforms.
All right, and we are back, folks.
Back.
Yes. So, here's some trivia. You ready for this, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the first Western episode where Jonah Hex does not show up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Behrad lends Nate the air totem so he can visit the world between worlds to spend time with Zari Tomas, implying that even in spiritual form, they can still enjoy sex together.
Yep.
Yep. That's what it's implying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bass Reeves, as we said before, was the first black deputy U.S. Marshal west of the Mississippi River. DC fans may recognize the character from his brief mention in HBO's Watchmen, where he served... I'm not going to tell you what. Okay, there we go. In case you want to watch the show. But anyways,
Right.
the sheriff's rules in the tavern are no cussing, fighting, gambling, fornicating, alcohol consumption, spitting, cheating, yelling, gunplay, or disrespecting others.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, basically, Nate has revealed that he's basically built up a lot of stress since losing both of his lovers, Maya and Zari. Yeah.
Yeah, because he got into a whole thing, too, in the saloon where he was like, you know what, fine. I'm going to, reveal all of my stuff, too,
Yeah. Ava doesn't seem to mind that the Sarah she knew and fell in love with is dead and immediately accepts the clone, probably due to Ava herself being a clone. That
Right.
And not wanting to think of the alternative. The alien worm Haverak appears to be based on the Graboids from the Tremors movies franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Spooner learns how to reverse her alien empathy power in this episode. And that's basically all we got for trivia here. Do you want to hear the information about the next episode that's coming up, Matt?
Oh, sure.
Okay, the next episode called This Is Gus. The synopsis is, Behrad is disappointed because the legends have forgotten his birthday. So when they track an alien pod to 2024 and wind up at his favorite television sitcom, he thinks it's really a surprise for him. Feeling guilty, Nate and Zari occupy Behrad by keeping up the ruse by attending a taping of the show, while Ava, Spooner, and Astra try to find the alien to get the timeline back on track. So, yeah. Meanwhile, Rory's behavior has been a little off, so Sarah and Gary become determined to find out what happened. But Rory ends up getting some unexpected news. Dun, dun, dun. We'll see what happens there. Yeah. So, yeah, sounds like a fun one coming up. So, I wonder what his favorite sitcom is.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that would be.
Yeah.
Maybe This Is Us is his favorite sitcom.
But This Is Us isn't really a sitcom. That's more of a drama.
Well, true.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what this is about.
No, it's totally a sitcom. It's hilarious.
Yeah, when all those people die on the show and everything and stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
People
hilarious.
Depressed and anxiety attacks. And
Yep.
Secrets being kept for them. A total fun town,
Just like ER. Oh, wait.
Yeah. What?
I don't know. Anyways, any other thoughts or speculation here, Matt, before we end things here?
Not a whole lot, other than just it does seems like Mick has been taking a back seat, literally. So maybe they're kind of teasing his departure, maybe somewhat or something.
Yeah, because there is talk he's leaving as a series regular, but he said his messages were misunderstood, that he's not leaving the show.
Oh, okay.
So, but he's probably leaving as a regular, though. He might just be a guest star from now on or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, which would just mean he's not going to be in every episode. So.
Right. Yeah. All right.
but we'll see what happens. Or maybe he's leaving for good. Who knows? It's hard to say. Anyways, folks, if you like this episode, make sure you go give us a 5-star review on the Apple Pods cast thingy. That sounded weird when I said that. But anyways, yeah, just give us a 5-star review if you like us. Give us a bad review if you don't. I don't care. Just give us a review. I'll read them all. Also, if you have any questions or anything you want us to cover in the future, message me at mike@cullenpark.com. Check out all2real2.com for links to all of our episodes and to links to our Twitter and our Facebook and our Instagram and all that stuff. Join our Facebook group, All2Real2 podcast group. It's a fun place. Yeah. Make sure you go out there, enjoy the nice weather we've been having. Get some sun. Make sure you wear some sunscreen.
Sun's important.
Yeah.
And sunscreen.
Yeah. Wear sunscreen. And you know what else you might want to wear? A condom. Anyways, so until next time, time travelers. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.